Class 7 will start with a new chapter, okay? Chapter 7, Electricity and Magnetism. Now, see the first page of your chapter, you have laws of magnetism and test for a magnet. So, these two we have already done in class 6. So, I am not explaining once again. And this year, you don't have electromagnetism, see these portions. Electromagnetism, then application of electromagnets, then also electric bell. You don't have this here, okay? This has been reduced. So we will straight away start from electric charges, okay? We'll start straight away from electric charges. Okay, so what is this that I have drawn? This is a structure of atom. You have read in chemistry, I think, structure of atom. What does it consist of? Atom consists of a central part, the central core part known as nucleus. Right? Nucleus. In the central core part of an atom, what are the particles which reside? Two types of particles. One, positively charged. Another, uncharged. No charge, that is. Right? Okay. So, can you see plus sign particles written? I have drawn. These are the protons. Right? And no charge, carrying no charge, those are the neutrons. Protons carry positive charge, neutrons carry no charge, right? So, these protons and neutrons together reside in the nucleus, right? And apart from the nucleus, we have some other portion also of the atom. What is that called? The portion apart from the nuclear part or the nucleus of an atom, the rest of the portion, that is known as the extranuclear part. What type of particles do we have in the extranuclear part? We have particles which carry negative charge and they move around the nucleus in certain paths. Just like the planets move around the sun, these particles carrying negative charge, can you see the negative charge? Minus charges. These particles carrying minus charges, they move around the nucleus in the extranuclear part. What are these particles called? These are called electrons. Right? They are called electrons. So, protons positively charged, electrons negatively charged, neutrons no charge. Now, do you know this that as a whole, an atom is electrically neutral. That means number of protons is equal to number of electrons. And therefore, suppose if I have 5 protons, that means 5 positive charge, 5 plus, right? Plus, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 5 electrons therefore. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, ultimately, plus minus gets cancelled. So, we get ultimately the total charge of an atom is 0. Atom is electrically neutral. Then, sometimes, why do we say that this object is charged? That means, what will happen? Suppose if I have positive charge, and if I have 3 negative charge, which is more now? Plus is now more, it will dominate now. Plus is more. It will say I am more, so I will be the dominant part. 4 plus, 3 minus. So, which is more? 1 plus is more. 1 plus is more. So, ultimately, the atom then will be positively charged, isn't it? And if suppose I have 3 positive charge, that means 3 protons. These are the protons. And if I have 4 electrons, then which one is more now? Negative charge is more now. So, ultimately the atom will be negatively charged. That's why sometimes you will notice that, suppose if you, I don't know whether you have done in chemistry or not, but when there is an excess of electrons, that means excess of what type of charge? Negative or positive? Negative, because electrons carry negative charge. Excess of electrons means atom will now become negatively charged. If it is lacking of electrons, that means it has less electron than proton, then it will become, what will it become? Ultimately the atom will become positively charged, because at that time positive charge is more. That's why number of protons is more. And what has neutrons got to do with the charge? Nothing. Neutrons carry no charge, right? This is how we can say, we can define charge of any. So this was about the electric charges and what happens when an atom is electrically neutral, what happens when there is more electron, that means excess of electron, it becomes negatively charged. Then if it has deficit of electron, it becomes positively charged, right? Now, do you remember this thing in class 6 we have done? Suppose I have a comb, rub my hair with the comb and I put the comb on small bits of paper. I'll see that the bits of paper are getting attracted to the comb. Now the comb, we know that a comb does not carry any charge, right? So how come then what is attracting the bits of paper towards the comb, right? We know opposite charges attract each other. So, or if even a charged body can attract an uncharged body, right? A charged body can attract opposite charge. Also, it can attract an uncharged body. So, when we rub our hair with the comb, some electrons are transferred to the comb. Now the comb gets charged. Initially the comb was electrically neutral, no charge. Now it gets charged. Now a charged comb and the bits of paper not charged. So automatically they will be attracted towards the comb then, right? So that means, notice that we are using a comb. Say it's made of plastic. Okay. So there are few substances on which charges can reside. That means charges cannot move. They will accumulate on the surface of those substances, just like the plastic comb which we have used in the example which I have given. Those charges which do not move but remain stationary, accumulated over a surface of any substance, those are known as static charges. Right? And those charges which are able to flow through any substance, which do not just remain stationary, unlike this, static means stationary, but those charges which are able to flow through any substance, those charges the moving charges constitute the static charges constitute what? Static electricity. Okay, static electricity. That means when the, just example which I gave you, that means the charges are there on the comb. It's not moving from one end of the comb to another. They are stationary on the surface of the comb. So that type of charges, they constitute static electricity due to the static charges or stationary charges. But when the charges are in motion, when the charges are able to move through a substance, then what is the type of electricity? Then we call it current electricity. We call it current electricity. Or simply we can call it electric current or electricity, right? Which you already know. With this term you are quite familiar with, right? So therefore comes the concept of current or the current electricity. What is current or current electricity? It is nothing but the motion of charges. It is nothing but the motion of the charges. When the charges move, they constitute the current electricity or the current simply. So, but in physics, we must have a definition of everything. So, what is the definition of current then? Or electric current? Electric current or current, whatever. What is the definition? I, electric current is denoted by capital I. I is equal to the rate of flow of charge. That means how much charge is flowing through a certain area in unit time. Per unit time, how much flow or how much charge is flowing. So, now the charge we can denote it, electric charge, we can denote it with the symbol of Q. So therefore I can write Q by T. Just like you remember, speed is equal to the rate of that means the distance covered in per unit time, the rate of distance traveled. So distance by time. So just like it, current is a rate of flow of charge, the amount of charge flowing in per unit time. What does Q represents? Q represents charge. T represents time. Now, what is the SI unit of charge? If in order to understand the SI unit of current, we first need to know the SI unit of charge. Time we already know, second. What is the SI unit of charge? SI unit of charge is named after the scientist Coulomb. In abbreviation, it's capital C. Capital C. In full form, Coulomb. It's the SI unit of electric charge. So then, can I write the SI unit of current? Charge SI unit, Coulomb. So, by time SI unit, you know already. Second. So this as a whole is known as, also after the name of the scientist, ampere. In short, capital A. Okay. Now just see again. Electric charge, we denote it with Q. SI unit, Coulomb. Since it's the name of the scientist, so capital C abbreviation. Electric current denoted by capital I. What is it? the rate of flow of charge. So Q by T. What is the SI unit? It's ampere. How has the ampere come from? Coulomb by second. See, I equal to Q by T. So the SI unit of Q by SI unit of T. SI unit of Q is Coulomb. SI unit of T is second. So Coulomb per second, we call it ampere. It's again after the name of a scientist. So ampere, in abbreviation it is capital A. But in full form it's ampere. So if I ask you what is 1 ampere? 1 ampere is the current flowing when 1 coulomb charge is flowing in 1 second through an area. Isn't it? Right? 1 coulomb charge flows in 1 second time, then the current flowing is 1 ampere. Simple. Now, we say that static electricity is due to the static charges. That means the charges which are not in motion, which are stationary. Okay. Over surfaces of certain substances. So, static electricity, we will again do it in class 8. Don't worry. Now, current electricity, we say that the movement of the charges constitute the current electricity. Now, what type of charges? Negative charges. And what type of particles are responsible for the negative charges? Electrons. You know that suppose we are sitting in a class and say the students were sitting in the last bench, they can easily escape from the sight of the teacher and can easily, carry on their gossips and carry on their whatever activities they want to do, because they can escape from the control of the teacher because they are sitting in the last bench. So maybe sometimes it's not possible for the teacher to, always look whatever is happening till the last bench. So you all prefer to sit in the last bench, right? So just like that, the electrons, you just imagine the electrons which are in the outermost orbit, they can easily be knocked out. They can easily come out of the atom, overcoming or breaking the force of attraction of the nucleus. The nucleus is like the teacher. That nucleus wants the electron to revolve around it. They are holding with certain force. What type of force? I don't know whether I've mentioned this in class 6. Nucleus contains positively charged protons. Electrons are negatively charged. So you tell me what type of charge, what type of force will be acting between nucleus and electron? Electrostatic force of attraction. Oppositely charged particles. So the protons will try with its electrostatic force of attraction will act between the protons and electrons, due to which the nucleus will try to bind the electrons around them. But as you know, the electrons in the outermost orbits can easily be knocked out from the atoms, overcoming or breaking the force of attraction of the nucleus. So those electrons which can be easily knocked out from their outermost orbits and can roam about freely, those are known as free electrons. Okay, you will learn, I think you learn in chemistry also about this when you learn the structure of atom. So for this class you just have the basic concepts about this. Okay. So the flow of charges is always due to the flow of the negatively charged electrons. Now, suppose I am standing in the class, in your class, and I want to walk to the last bench, and many of the students are standing in between, and the small passage through which I will have to travel, between the two the rows of desks which you have in your class. So I will have to travel to the long passage to reach the end. Now while I do so, now what will you do? Suppose in the last bench you have done something mischievous. Okay, just imagine the thing. you have done something mischievous and kept it in the last bench and you don't want me to see it. So while I'll try to move, so you will just keep on standing blocking my way. So I'll try to move. When I'll try to move, I will face obstruction from you all, right? I will have to collide with you all, and then I'll have to, make my way I have to make my way conveniently to reach the last bench. So while I'm moving, I'm facing a lot of obstruction. Similarly, when the electrons when they move from one part to another part, they face a lot of obstructions. When they move, they will collide with other electrons and other ions also while they are moving. So those will try to slow down the speed of electrons, just like you will try to slow down the speed of me. They will try to slow down the speed of the electrons. They will try to obstruct their path because electrons are colliding with each other while they are moving from one part to another part. So they are facing some obstruction. So what did we learn? The flow of electrons, the flow of charges constitute electric current. So that means this property of a substance by which it can resist the flow of electric current through it is nothing but electrical resistance. It is a property of a substance by which it can offer resistance. It can, obstruct. It can hinder the path of electric current flowing through it. That is electrical resistance. Some substances, they are very good. They don't offer much resistance. Okay. Those are known as conductors. Through them, current can easily flow. There are certain substances which are very, mischievous. They offer a lot of electrical resistance. They offer a lot of obstruction to the flow of electric current through them. Those are known as insulators. That means through them, current cannot easily flow. Okay? See the examples of conductors. All metals are good conductors. Graphite being a non-metal is a conductor. Impure water, it contains ions. That's why it's able to conduct electricity through it. Insulators, wood, plastic, rubber, they don't allow electric current to flow through them easily. So they are known as insulators. These are conductors. Electrical conductor, electrical insulator.